And with me now is Michael Lighty, right here in the studio, Director of Public Policy at California Nurses Association, National Nurses United. And you guys are hooking up with Progressive Democrats of America, pdamerica.org, where, by the way, people can sign the petition to tell Bernie Sanders to run as a Democrat. Do that. But Michael, you guys just had a roundtable here in D.C. Do I have that right?
Yes, we did, Tom.
And so tell me about it. And this was a PDA roundtable, National Nurses, all of the above. What?
It was Progressive Democrats of America Roundtable.
Mm-hmm.
I was subbing for Tim Carpenter as the moderator. Of course, National Nurses United worked closely with PDA.
Yeah.
And we did a roundtable on the Better Off budget. Gabriela Lamas was there from Progressive Congress,
Mm-hmm.
and also other folks who spoke on different aspects of the budget, defense, in particular, carbon tax, comparing it to the Obama budget and the Ryan budget.
Now, for people who don't know what we're talking about, the Better Off budget is the budget that was put together by the Progressive Caucus in the House of Representatives, by the Democrats in the Democratic Progressive Caucus. And it balances the budget in, what, a decade or two?
Yeah, a decade. That's right.
And which everybody else's budget does.
Right.
And it reorients basically our priorities. It reduces defense somewhat, and it strengthens the social safety net. And what else?
Well, it actually creates 8.8 million jobs, Tom. It uses a financial transaction tax, and we talked about the Robin Hood tax in that context.
Right. This is the old STET tax on stock transactions.
That's right.
It's going to put the high-frequency traders out of business.
Well, exactly, and it's a sales tax. Wall Street traders don't pay sales tax. Most of the rest of us do. That's included in the Better Off budget. It also funds infrastructure, uses a carbon tax to raise revenue, and also funds new programs in education, state aid, which has been decimated, of course, during the Great Recession, and funds those essential human services that have been neglected and combats austerity. And if you want to have an opposite of the Ryan budget, which cuts programs that benefit working people and the poor and raises taxes on the middle class, lowers taxes on the wealthy, the Better Off budget is the polar opposite. And it's a great statement of progressive values. 89 votes in the House.
89 votes.
Yeah.
What is it going to take to get 220?
Well, it's going to take a lot more grassroots effort, like what Progressive Democrats of America does in terms of the letter drops and educating Congress and mobilizing. We're going to have to build a mass movement if we want to reorient the priorities of this country. The president spends more on defense than the sequester limit. Ryan spends, I think, about 3 times as much above the sequester limit than does the president. And so if we're going to move spending away from defense and the dark side and the hidden costs of the continuing wars that we're fighting, we're going to have to build a mass movement to do so.
Right. And how do we do that?
Well, we do it by engaging with our folks in our communities. We engage it by doing letter drops and telling our members of Congress what our priorities are. We do it by going to places like nationalpriorities.org, the National Priorities Project, and compare the budgets, compare that to public opinion, write letters to the editor, and then join in demonstrations on these issues and make sure that if people, particularly Republicans, since it's their budget, vote for it, they pay a price in November.
Right. Because public opinion is being largely ignored.
That's right.
What is being attended to, and in fact, the better budget really basically just is, corresponding with public opinion on these issues. It's just, I thought I had it, I don't. But it's you go through the list. I mean,
That's right.
the vast majority of Americans want to strengthen Social Security. They want to strengthen the social safety net. They want something done about the environment. They, long-term unemployment. They want jobs created. So for Progressive Democrats of America, pdamerica.org, can people start local chapters in their homes, in their communities?
Absolutely.
How?
Well, they can go to the website and they can find information about how to start a chapter. They can get contact information for PDA staff who can help them do so, because there's staff all around the country that can help them do so. And they can find the resources at PDA America to get the information they need to convince others to join them.
And this is completely independent of the Democratic Party.
It's completely independent of the Democratic Party. I think it's fair to say that the Democratic Party is not a progressive party. There are progressives within it, and it's our job to work outside the party to make the inside better.
Right.
And that really is what, of course, PDA brings to it, the inside outside. I think you're absolutely right, Tom, on the key priorities, and the national priorities.org has that comparison. It literally goes through the provisions of the budget and says where public opinion is and compares that to the budgets. And you're right, Better Off Budgets funds, restores the food stamp cuts, for example, funds unemployment and long-term unemployment insurance, funds the infrastructure people want. So it's and lowers it doesn't lower taxes, I should say, on the wealthy.
Right, but it does lower taxes on working people.
But it does.
And job creation, 74% of Americans, Medicaid, 74% of Americans, SNAP, food stamps, 70%, education, 69%, tax loopholes, closing them, 67%, corporate taxes, 66% to 79%. These individual taxes, raising taxes on rich people, cutting taxes on the working poor. 61% of people support this. Social Security, 66%. These are the priorities of America, and these are all reflected. Every single one of them. And there's 2 more pages of this: Medicare, or Medicaid, funding war overseas. 82% of Americans want us to cut that.
That's right.
And this budget does. Cutting Pentagon spending. 58% of Americans want to cut that. This budget cuts that. The Ryan budget doesn't. The president's budget doesn't. Discretionary education spending. I mean, it's pretty straightforward stuff.
It is. What's amazing, of course, and not so amazing really if you follow politics, is the clout that lobbyists, special interests, donors have on Congress.
Thanks to the Supreme Court.
Yeah,
I mean,
but that's really the difference.
So, Michael Lighty, in the half a minute we have left, what's up with National Nurses United?
We're fighting for Main Street and taxing Wall Street to heal America with the Robin Hood tax, H.R. 1579. We're working to make sure that patients get guaranteed health care as a human right, and to win single-payer health care reform, particularly Bernie Sanders' bill, S. 1782, that would establish a national single-payer system administered by the states.
That's great. And the website is?
The nationalnursesunited.org or robinhoodtax.org.
RobinHoodTax.org, too. That's great. Michael Lighty with National Nurses United, Director of Public Policy, and today sitting in for Tim Carpenter with Progressive Democrats of America, PDAmerica.org. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Tom.
It's great to see you again.